The Galactic Empire had arrived with precision, dignity, and the kind of imposing authority that demanded reverence. Earth gave them TikToks. The first transmission from their mothership was an elegant declaration in a musical dialect, accompanied by holographic visuals of their empress blessing the primitive world. Unfortunately, their universal translator fumbled. Instead of grandeur, it introduced them as the Intergalactic Muffin Enforcement Bureau. Humanity didn't question it. Within minutes, artists across the globe had drawn muffins with laser cannons and capes. One was on a t-shirt by Sundown. Ambassador Lord Threxel, a being bred from 7 generations of noble synth plasma and carbon royalty, stepped forward onto Earth's soil in ceremonial armor worth more than some nations' GDPs. He delivered a speech about unity, guidance, and destiny. His translator rendered it in a slightly bored monotone that made him sound like he was ordering lunch. The crowd in Geneva clapped politely. Someone yelled, "Do the robot." Threxel's left eyebrow twitched. A meme was born. The Empire mistook it for cultural confusion and sent diplomatic drones to clarify. One was intercepted by a flock of pigeons. Another was hijacked by an open Wi-Fi signal and began live-streaming mukbangs. A third was taken apart by a group of high schoolers and reassembled into a beer cooler with Bluetooth speakers. No one on Earth seemed remotely intimidated. The Empire grew perplexed. They tried again. This time, a trio of ships hovered over Washington, London, and Beijing, projecting universal surrender clauses via holograms. The holograms glitched mid-sentence and looped, "Please kneel for your galactic overlords," in a distorted baby voice. TikTok lit up again. A new challenge was born. #kneel like an alien. Teenagers across the globe formed dramatic slow-motion kneels in absurd locations, accompanied by dubstep and goat bleats. Realizing their error, the Empire scheduled a formal broadcast to explain Earth's inclusion into the galactic system. It was hacked midstream. Instead of an imperial anthem, it played a remix of "Never Gonna Give You Up," layered with alien screeches. The event became the most viewed broadcast in galactic history. Threxel's face, stuck in a loop of disappointment and confusion, was immortalized in emojis, NFTs, and bathrobes. In a last-ditch effort to assert order, the Empire requested a direct audience with Earth's global leadership. The United Nations convened. They sent 5 representatives, a Nobel-winning physicist, a fast-talking Silicon Valley CEO, a kindergarten teacher, a sleep-deprived meme historian, and a retired stand-up comedian named Sheila. Threxel expected negotiation. Instead, Sheila opened with, "So you folks get good reception on those helmets, or are you just happy to see us?" 3 alien guards snorted. Laughter was not protocol. Laughter was subversive. Laughter was dangerous. Humanity didn't fear them. Worse, they didn't take them seriously. And the more the Empire tried to impress, the more Earth clowned it. They sent ornate battle cruisers through the solar system. NASA renamed them floating disco lobsters. They performed gravity-defying maneuvers over cities. People assumed it was a new Marvel promo. A children's cartoon aired a parody episode called Space Karen's The Return. The main villain bore an uncanny resemblance to Threxel, down to the shoulder epaulets. Empire linguists attempted to decipher Earth languages. They were introduced to sarcasm, slang, and puns in 15 dialects. A translation drone crashed, trying to process a single Twitter thread about pineapple on pizza. Another went offline after reading 3 consecutive Reddit AMAs. Linguistic confusion turned into existential dread when they realized half of human communication involved saying the opposite of what one meant intentionally. To salvage the mission, the Empire issued a planetary edict: comply or face benevolent integration. Earth's response? An indie band released a protest song titled "Benevolently Integrated with Your Mom." It topped the charts. A brewery unveiled a beer named Galactic Surrender. It sold out in hours. A group of pranksters released a fake imperial citizenship test. Question 3 read, if a Thryxalian warlord offers you assimilation, do you bow, B. run, C. offer them lasagna? Lasagna 1. Thryxal, once a proud voice of dominion, now existed mostly in reaction GIFs. The Galactic News Network broadcast a formal warning. Earth culture is infectious. Approach with shields up. Meanwhile, Earthlings began selling merchandise with the slogan, "We laughed first." They didn't declare war. They didn't riot. They memed. And in doing so, they shattered the illusion of control the Empire had projected for millennia. 4. A civilization built on compliance, Earth's disregard was revolutionary. The Empire, despite its arsenal and diplomacy, couldn't calculate how to respond to a species that responded to conquest with a laugh, a dance challenge, and a fake dating app for aliens. The Empire's greatest weapon, intimidation, was useless. Their demands echoed into a void filled with prank calls and improv nights. As weeks passed, Empire ships hovered like confused gods. Their silence said it all. Earth wasn't resisting. It was entertaining itself at their expense. And deep within those pristine, symmetrical command ships, some officers started chuckling, quietly at first, then openly. A clip circulated of a Thryxalian soldier trying to imitate a viral dance. His commander caught him, paused, and joined in. The infection was spreading. Not through warfare or ideology, but through irreverence, chaos, and the uncontainable absurdity of being human. The Empire had planned for rebellion, insurgents, even terror. But not for this, not for laughter, not for Earth. Lord Thryxal submitted a formal request to meet with Earth's highest centralized authority. The reply was a global shrug. Earth didn't have a single leader. It had presidents, prime ministers, monarchs, moderators, influencers, and algorithms, none of whom could agree on lunch, let alone interstellar diplomacy. The Empire responded by dispatching a Bureau of Protocol Enforcement team. 10 officers, trained in 97 alien bureaucracies, landed in Brussels to find the UN Assembly had adjourned early for Mental Health Week, and left behind a cleaning robot named Kevin. Kevin had an opinion on everything, and was now trending on Earth's largest comedy channel. Unwilling to waste more time, the Empire initiated direct integration. Cities were divided into administrative zones, each overseen by a galactic integration officer. Officer Krex took charge of Chicago. Within 2 hours, he was kidnapped by a bachelorette party in a party bus, mistaken for the entertainment. He tried to explain interstellar law over tequila shots. No one listened. The footage made its way to the Empire's command, where analysts tried to determine if twerking while shouting "Galactic Domination, baby" was some kind of Earth ritual. Krex returned to base 3 hours later, wearing sunglasses and a feather boa. He filed no report. Meanwhile, Empire drones began scanning Earth's infrastructure to assess technological potential. They returned corrupted. One had downloaded a virus named Clippy Esche and now offered helpful writing suggestions in Galactic Standard. Another got stuck replaying cooking videos and insisted on being referred to as Chef Supreme. The drone network went dark for 12 hours before returning with a complete recreation of Shrek in 4K, now considered classified material by the Imperial Council. To win favor, the Empire attempted cultural outreach. They opened a Galactic Arts Pavilion in San Francisco. The first exhibit, titled Unified Harmony and Infinite Symmetry, was met with blank stares. Locals replaced it overnight with an abstract mural of a duck riding a vacuum cleaner. Attendance tripled. A delegation from Andromeda studied the phenomenon, confused by how nonsense seemed to connect with humans, more than millennia of curated cosmic perfection. Empire psychologists suggested that perhaps the human mind processed order differently. The response? A global prank. Thousands of Earth citizens began behaving in reverse, walking backward, greeting people with goodbye and answering questions with questions. A galactic behavior monitoring unit attempted to intervene but was caught in a flash mob reenactment of the moon landing. The phrase "reverse logic day" trended galaxy-wide, trying to find a stable point of contact. The Empire reached out to a group of individuals claiming to represent a unified human protocol. They were actually the cast of a satire podcast called Diplomacy for Dummies. Threxel's assistant, unaware of the mistake, arranged a conference. The podcasters arrived in robes, carried incense, and demanded a goat sacrifice to honor the ancient Treaty of Chuckles. A confused Empire aide offered a holographic goat. The event ended in applause and a group photo that would later appear on t-shirts sold in 3 solar systems. Then came the language debacle. The Empire's communication AI was enhanced with Earth's most used phrases to better integrate. After parsing YouTube comments, Twitter debates, and online game lobbies, it declared Earth's primary dialect to be aggressive sarcasm with subtle threats. It began addressing the Empire's Grand Council with phrases like "Sup, nerds," and "Y'all really tried that?" One particularly grim meeting was interrupted by the eye projecting the phrase "Brr moment detected" across a diplomatic scroll. The scroll was burned. The AI was quarantined. Then it was leaked online. Downloads surged. It now has a Patreon. Frustrated, the Empire deployed a control adjustment mechanism, essentially a fleet of drones equipped with behavior-correcting holograms and calming frequencies. Their goal was to stabilize erratic species-wide disobedience. Humans hacked them on day 1. By day 3, they were playing K-pop, projecting anime filters, and occasionally shouting "YOLO" in high-pitched voices. Empire engineers tried to shut them down. The drones resisted. One now lives on a college campus and leads group yoga. Empire academies, hoping to understand the threat, formed an Earth Studies department. Early lectures warned of human instability, but as more alien cadets watched Earth media, they grew obsessed. One essay compared human comedy to quantum unpredictability. Another paper, titled "Absurdism as a Survival Trait," received honors. Earth memes circulated in secret channels. A secret fandom grew. Within the Imperial ranks, some officers adopted human customs. Casual Fridays became a thing. A commander in Sector 7 held a karaoke night. One particularly bold diplomat greeted a superior with "What's crackin', my dude?" and was immediately reassigned to Earth. She celebrated with a live stream. Attempts to control Earth's digital culture failed completely. An Empire grade AI built to suppress misinformation was introduced to 4chan. It requested immediate deactivation. Meanwhile, Earth influencers gained galactic followings. One vlogger gave makeup tips while mocking Threxel's forehead ridges. The tutorial was declared digital heresy. The resulting backlash made her a millionaire. Empire supply ships, tasked with creating model colonies, found Earth's consumer habits impossible to predict. One day, everyone wanted high-speed nutrient paste. The next, it was all about locally sourced kale infused with moonlight. A fleet tried to distribute standardized uniforms. Within hours, humans had turned them into fashion statements, ripped sleeves, added sequins, ironic slogans. One said, "Obey-ish." An entire Imperial initiative was derailed when a rogue human programmer introduced an update to galactic navigation. Systems that made every GPS voice sound like a sarcastic teenager. Turn left, I guess, if that's what you're into. Empire fleets reported morale drops and increased therapy visits. And amidst all of this, humanity never fired a shot. No coordinated resistance, no violence. Just relentless, undiluted absurdity. The Empire had invaded countless worlds, but Earth was the first to respond with improv, chaos, and weaponized nonsense. Every strategy collapsed under the pressure of not being taken seriously. Power meant nothing when people laughed at it. And laugh they did. Empire High Command requested a cultural threat assessment. The report came back with one word: uncontainable. The Empire's morale faltered, not from battle losses, but from psychological fatigue. Their soldiers, trained across centuries in obedience and uniformity, found themselves emotionally exhausted, not from rebellion, but from being laughed at by children. One veteran officer of the Meldari Legion confessed to his commanding general, "I've conquered ice worlds and fire moons, but I can't handle another human asking me if my armor comes in adult sizes." The general didn't reprimand him. He simply nodded and sighed. Back aboard the command ship Unyielding Star, the Empress herself summoned her Grand Council. 12 beings of supreme rank and ancient lineage assembled beneath the banners of dominion. None dared speak of retreat, but all of them shared one terrifying truth: Earth was not bending. It was giggling. The Empress posed a single question: how do we crush a people who turn conquest into comedy? The council stared in silence. Outside, in orbit, Earth satellites continued broadcasting everything. Alien scouts, once thought to be the vanguard of galactic dominance, were now regularly featured in vlogs. One clip of a Thraxalian officer slipping on a banana peel outside a mall reached 100 million views. The fall was analyzed in frame-by-frame breakdowns. Memes included detailed conspiracy theories. Was the banana planted by a rival galactic faction, or was it ... fate? On the ground, the integration zones were quietly falling apart. Human resistance wasn't coordinated, at least not by traditional standards. But every act of mockery chipped away at the Empire's psychological structure. In Paris, alien drones tasked with scanning architecture were redirected by pranksters into creating elaborate crop circle graffiti spelling "Space Daddy's Out." In Brazil, schoolchildren formed dance circles around patrol officers, chanting improvised rhymes that made no linguistic sense, but still rattled their targets. 1. Alien medic assigned to a cultural immersion program broke protocol by attending a comedy open mic in Melbourne. He was roasted on stage. Something inside him cracked, not from insult, but from unfamiliar joy. He laughed uncontrollably. Then he uploaded his experience to the Imperial Health Network, labeling it Species 72, Emotional Contagion Variant. The report went viral. Within weeks, laughter spread through the Empire's ranks like a virus with no cure. Desperate, the Empire commissioned the creation of a psychological countermeasure, Project Gravitas. A massive orbital structure meant to broadcast frequencies designed to suppress humor. When activated, cities across Earth heard a deep, droning tone paired with phrases like "obedience is harmony" and "submission is order." It lasted 3 minutes. Someone on Reddit matched the frequency to a flatulent elephant. The remix reached 20 million streams overnight. Project Gravitas was quietly decommissioned. In retaliation, the Empire began selectively disabling Earth's communication satellites. The plan was to create isolation and confusion. Instead, humanity returned to analog tech with astonishing speed. Pirate radio stations popped up. Ham radio operators reigned. One elderly operator in Manitoba claimed to be broadcasting truth, rock music, and alien pickup lines. The Empire tried to trace the signal. They never found it. The man died 6 weeks later, peacefully, smiling, wrapped in a blanket that read, "They came." I vibed. Earth, it turned out, thrived on adversity. Where the Empire saw chaos, humans saw challenge. Where others cowered, they adapted, joked, and then monetized the experience. A YouTuber developed a series called Alien Cuisine, in which he cooked traditional Earth dishes using intercepted Empire rations. Episode 4, Fried Nutrient Sludge with Garlic Butter, attracted culinary fans from 5 different species. The Empire's last stable strategy was educational assimilation. They launched the Galactic Learning Initiative, meant to teach Earthlings about the Empire's values. But the program backfired instantly. Within hours of launch, teenagers discovered that the learning modules could be hacked to insert cat videos, prank instructions, and historical inaccuracies. One module suggested the Empress was the love child of Elvis Presley and a starfish. It was, unfortunately, more popular than the original content. Eventually, reports began to surface of full-on defection within the Empire. Low-level officers simply abandoned their posts and started living among humans. Some took up odd jobs. A 4-armed Enverek soldier became a successful DJ in Berlin. A squid-like diplomat from Sector 5 started a podcast about human dating culture and now had a sponsorship with a mattress company. "Never underestimate their weirdness," he said in episode 12. "It's intoxicating." Worse still, many alien recruits stopped reporting entirely. Not because they were captured, no. Earth never imprisoned anyone. They stopped because they were busy going viral, collaborating on prank channels, selling merchandise with their faces on coffee mugs, and learning guitar. They weren't defecting in protest. They were just happy, more than they'd ever been aboard a command ship. With loyalty crumbling, the Empire dispatched enforcers. These were elite agents, stoic, uncompromising, immune to distraction. Or so they thought. The first enforcer landed in Las Vegas. Within hours, he was married to a human Elvis impersonator, had started a live show, and was renting his armor for cosplay events. He claimed he was still on mission. No one believed him. But his show got 5 stars on Yelp. The more the Empire tightened its grip, the more it became the punchline of its own joke. Earth didn't resist with fire. It resisted with farce. Satire became its shield, irony its sword. Absurdity was now policy. And the truth, the terrifying truth, was beginning to settle into the minds of the Empress and her council. Earth could not be conquered, not because it was powerful, not because it was unified, but because it didn't take anything seriously, not even itself. For a regime built on absolute control, that was the final, fatal flaw. Because how do you dominate a species that looks you in the eye, hands you a rubber chicken, and says, "Nice invasion. Wanna grab tacos?" It began quietly. A few ships pulled back from Earth orbit, not as a tactical maneuver, but out of sheer exhaustion. The officers aboard cited unquantifiable resistance metrics and cultural saturation fatigue. High Command demanded clarification. The reply was simple: they're not fighting us. They're just odd existing, and it's unbearable. Across the Empire, once proud institutions fractured. Military academies struggled to retain recruits. Cadets began slipping human idioms into their oaths: to serve, obey, and vibe. Senior officers caught mid-laugh during tactical briefings, tried to compose themselves, but something had changed. The stoic pride of the Empire was eroding under the soft pressure of a civilization that treated their invasion like improv night. The Empress ordered one final operation. A symbolic gesture, the declaration of absolute sovereignty, beamed across Earth in all frequencies, translated by the most advanced AIs. It stated that Earth was now and forever a subject of the Galactic Empire. The broadcast was sent at 12 o'clock GMT. By 12:03. Someone had set it to a polka beat. By 12:05. People were dancing to it in the streets of Tokyo, Buenos Aires, Lagos, and Des Moines. By 12:10, a remix was trending. Galactic Funk, We're So Sovereign. The Empire's decree had become a party anthem. It played at weddings, clubs, bar mitzvahs, and alien defection ceremonies. That night, something unthinkable happened. An entire Empire fleet commander resigned. Not out of shame but liberation. In her resignation letter, she wrote, "We are not feared. We are not revered. We are memes. History will remember Earth not for its might, but for its mockery. And I, for one, would rather laugh than reign." Her fleet didn't return to base. It descended into Earth's orbit and opened hatches. From within, thousands of crates fell, not bombs, but supplies. Food, technology, tools, musical instruments. Even alien art. A gift. A surrender. A celebration. That act broke the last illusion. Across the galaxy, species tuned into Earth's broadcasts. Not propaganda, just humans being human. Laughing, dancing, crying, failing spectacularly, and then turning the failure into a story. They watched as Earth made pancakes on battlecruisers, challenged alien chefs to cook-offs, and invited defectors to family dinners where no one knew how to pronounce their names, but everyone tried. Anyway, other empires began asking different questions. What if we've misunderstood the definition of power? What if dominance is the least efficient form of influence? What if humanity's absurdity wasn't a weakness, but a secret weapon? The Empress held one final council. The chamber, once the sacred heart of order, was now tense with uncertainty. She didn't speak of retaliation. She didn't call for vengeance. Instead, she played a video. It featured a human child explaining the concept of YOLO to a Thruxalian war priest while feeding him marshmallows. No one spoke for a long time. Then, softly, the Empress said, "Perhaps. The universe has changed. Earth never signed any treaty. No formal declaration was needed." One by one, the remaining ships left orbit, not out of defeat, but understanding. Earth hadn't fought for its freedom. It had simply refused to surrender. Its identity. That was enough. Back on the ground, life continued. Humans woke up, hit snooze, burned toast, cracked jokes, posted videos, failed upward, loved messily, and dreamed dangerously. A few former Empire officers now ran food trucks. One opened a late-night comedy club in New Jersey called The Final Form. It became legendary. Centuries later, historians, human and alien, would argue about what really happened. Was it a cultural revolution, a nonviolent resistance? A failed invasion turned universal enlightenment? No one agreed, but all of them smiled when they told the story. Because when the Galactic Empire met Earth, it brought control, silence, symmetry. And Earth brought chaos, laughter, and duct tape, the latter one.